What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here. Today we're going to be doing an account checkup to kind of see where I am in terms of progression on my account. Let's dive right in. And welcome back, guys. Like I said, we're going to be looking at my account in full. And the reason why we're doing this is because we have officially been in the game for 6 months. We are on we're actually going into day 181. We've just completed the last day of 6 months, which means that, I think it's a good time to look and see where the account is. I think there is a lot of things that have, changed on the account in the last 6 months, of course, because we've made some progress, right? Of course, there's going to be things that have changed, but a lot of really cool stuff has happened, and I want to do a sort of just update as to where we are. So we're also going to be, of course, be doing like our dailies and stuff in here because, we did just move over into a new week. So we'll check that out. We'll kind of see where everyone is, check out and see what kind of stuff we can get from, like guild boss, etc., and go from there. But overall, I think that I have really enjoyed playing the game. Not so much because I'm making content on it, but just because it's been really fun. I mean, like, that's just the best part about it, is I've just really enjoyed playing the game. It's just been a blast. I mean, for a lack of sort of better concepts there. But it's been really fun to make content for the game. It's been really fun to play the game in general. I actually need to swap the other set. This is actually the worst set. Hold on one moment here. Yeah, there we go. But it's just been really fun overall to play the game. I've really been enjoying myself, and I think that that's something that is good in a game. Most of the time when it comes to gachas, you're looking at a lifespan of 3 to 6 months tops, because most games are going to have you interested in the game, but then not so much interested in the game. And so it becomes a whole thing, and then it becomes super pay to win, etc., etc. And I know that I'm helped out a little bit by content creator rewards, but I've been really enjoying the game so far, and I really have no reason to think about why I would want to stop playing the game. There are some game modes that I care less and less about as game goes on, but there is enough things in the game that keep me interested, that I enjoy, that really make it worthwhile. One of the big ones is Immortal Codex. I think that is the most fun game mode I've played in any game ever. I wish it would be around more often. I'd really like to see them get to the point where we have 6 bosses that are on a 2-week rotation. So on 2 weeks we do we do the 3 bosses, and then the next 2 weeks we do the other 3 bosses. I think that would be really, really awesome. Lots of fun. But I'm happy with what we have. Ultimately, it's been really fun to be able to see my progression in all of these bosses. I love the fact that they make it so that heroes are viable no matter how good or bad they were in the past. They're really bringing stuff to the game that makes them more viable. Like, for example, look at Nasalt, right? Nasalt's one of the best, if not the best character in the most recent Immortal Codex. It's really game-changing. And I really like that, because a lot of the times you see things like power creep come into the game. And not to say that the game is not power crept, because the game has very much been power crept. There was the era of Boreas, and of course we're starting to see things like Eovar that are coming in that are going to replace Aracha and just various other things. But ultimately, I think that they've done a pretty good job of making older champions feel worthwhile, like making it feel like you're not wasting your money or your time or your currency, whatever, on summoning champions, even though something better is going to come down the line. I play another game called Marvel Strike Force, and one of the things that a lot of that group of people that play that game talk about is that the best characters in Marvel Strike Force aren't released yet, because there is constantly changes to the game, and there's a new team that's going to replace an old team. And I think that that's one of the things about that game that's not the greatest. But in this game, it's not necessarily the case, right? Like, there are champions that are better, but that doesn't mean that they're completely useless, right? For example, if we look at the early game of my account, I was using Setram. Setram was really good. He gave me a lot of progression in places such as Gear Raid 3. Silas is better, but I never got Silas until very recently. And so because of that, Setram was very, very important, and not having Silas wasn't the end of the world, because Setram does the job of Silas, maybe 80% efficiency, right? Something like that. I don't know the exact number, of course, but roughly something like that. And I think that that's really important to keep in mind, that, you don't have to have the best champions to be able to progress, to be able to do things. You need to have the best champions to be the best, of course, but that's just because you're competing with other people that also have skill, that also have those, various heroes that kind of make it the best. But here's the first thing that it's been happening in the background. If you haven't noticed, because you've been looking at my face, look at the screen for a second. This is the biggest thing that has changed about the account recently. I had 10 summons. I had 10 ancient summons to pull on this most recent banner with Aracha and Sargak, and we pulled Aracha. I'm amazed. I'm beyond amazed, especially because I thought that I was really far into pity. I really did. And so I was going to save it for, a better lord, like an Eovar or a Valderon, right? Something like that. But then I realized, and I didn't know this before, that Ajax counts as a legendary lord when it comes to the pity. And so because of that, I pulled an Ajax, which meant I was not nearly as far into pity as I expected. And so because of that, I was like, you know what, let's throw it to the wind. Let's get it. Let's put my 10 pull in. If we get a Racha, that's a game changing. That really is a big difference on my account. As you can see here, we've broken that 40k blood wall, which means we're basically just some artifacts away, some little pieces of gear changes away from really being able to make that 50k blood team happen. So until I get that sort of situated and sat down and really, really try my hardest to make that progression, we're still going to be doing the 2 keys on Nightmare 4, but it's close and I can feel it. And so it's very, very close. You'll be able to see that video hopefully very soon. I'm really excited to be able to put that content out. We will, of course, have to see what happens in the future. But ultimately, I'm really happy with the fact that I picked up Aracha. This is actually my 3rd legendary lord, which is crazy, because I went from having 0 legendary lords for the first 4 months of the game to very recently picking up a Morrigan, followed by a Torador, and now we have a Racha on the account, which is really, really crazy, and I'm really excited to see what else we can get in the game. It's been just a ton of fun. But we're also getting to the point in the game where we're starting to get dupes of legendaries. And so we're starting to hit some of those A2, A3 even in some legendaries, which is really exciting because it's opening up some interesting thought processes when it comes to what champion should I be using. Is an A1 of this character better than an A0 of that character? And I think that that's really fun and interesting for the game. But let's take a look at the rest of the account. Let's see where we're at, and kind of show you just a little bit of all the things. So first things first, this is my Pantheon. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I slacked on my Pantheon. The last thing I do in a day is typically my my trials over here, right? My faction trials. It's almost always the last thing. I always forget to do it. And so I've fallen behind on, when it comes to this. Luckily, I do have stage 8 of the basic trial, and I have had stage 8 of the basic trial for a really long time. We actually very recently got our final stage of the cultists done, because I was able to get my hands on Reeve as well as Morrigan, and so that really was a game changer in terms of being able to complete the cultist factions. I haven't really tried to push the other ones. There's a good chance I might be able to, but I'm not sure, because I know for Nightmare you really need to have arrogance, right? So I haven't tried to push so far, but I'm on pretty much the last stage of most of these, or not the last stage, I'm sorry, but stage 10 of most of these, right, where it starts to get really difficult. But, you know, ultimately, I think it's something that we're right there. We're right around the corner. And I think it's going to be a good push that we're going to be making here soon, because I do really want to get my hands on this free legendary. I also really like the fact that we're going to get some summons along the way, right? Which is really good for, you know, just being able to summon other champions in the game. But when it comes to our gear raids, there's nothing really to update here. Gear raid 1s, 2, and 3 have been on farm on stage 21 for a very long time. The only thing I could really do would be go to, like, for example, I could do gear raid 3 again and take Lunaria out and put in Aracha. Right, I could do that. I could put in Aracha, and that would make a pretty big difference in terms of like my clear speed. But I don't really care too much to do that, because clear speed's not that big of a deal for me. I don't care, you know, too much about it. When it comes to Gear Raid 4, unfortunately, I can't show my Gear Raid 4 here because it's not currently active. But we were able to clear Stage 5 of Gear Raid 4, which I think is pretty good for our first attempt, especially because it came out on a weekend where I'm at work. And so it's very difficult for me to sit down and like play challenging content over the weekend. And so we end up running into a lot of issues when it comes to that. But overall, I think we'll be able to make a push to Gear Raid 4 Stage 6, hopefully on the next path around. Then we can go into our Tide. And for Tide, we're sitting on stage 144. We've completed stage 144. As you can see here, you know, we are collecting our daily things. There's a good chance that I can push this, you know, up, but I just haven't sat down and done it. Like if I were to go ahead and quick retreat here, and we'll just throw in the stuff that we need. So we'll throw in our Captain Reeve. We'll throw in our Brokir. We'll throw in our new Crodor. And we'll come in and we will grab our 3 marksmen. So here we'll put in Setram, and then Silas, and then Hex. And then we'll come in and we will get our 3 mages. So we've got our Anai, our Boreas, and apparently our Pyros is our next highest one. And then we can pretty much just throw in the next top people. So we'll put in this, and we'll put in that. We've got... let's throw this on the other side, actually, to maybe keep our Silas alive. We could throw in our Valeria. And then we've got Nyx here. And then Volca. And then Lust, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at. And you'll see I'm actually quite above. I just have moved gear around, so it's a little off. And let's see if we can beat it. I don't know if we can. Maybe we'll get some new progression here in the video. We're on a boss wave, so I don't know the strat or how to beat this yet. I kind of just pushed because I got to the point where I couldn't beat I couldn't beat the power required, and so I just didn't even attempt to do it. But this looks like one of those bosses where you have to kind of like you have to drop the big guy right after the first swing, right? Something like that. And he comes down and then like stops the wave. Oh, we're gonna crush this. Look at that. We're crushing it. Yeah, big damage. That was a joke. We're so strong, guys. We're so strong. So we're actually going to clear wave 145 without any issues. Again, I haven't sat down to push this. We might even be able to push further. We're not going to do it all on video because it's not that important. But there's wave 145. That's awesome. Get a little more legendary skill dust, which of course we do appreciate. And we can push further as well. But one of the things that is making a big difference in here is actually getting all of these completed. So I'm maxing out all of my ground units because that's the thing that I fill up with the most, right? If we were to go in and look, you'll see that I'm literally maxing out all of the spaces on the ground. And so we're getting the most out of that. Well, actually, it looks like it's actually 8 and 8, so it doesn't really matter too much because... etc. But the difference here though is that the ground units covers both defenders and fighters, which is the big thing, right? Because if I were to go in here and I were to select, for example, this is only my marksman, so it's not going to buff my healers, it's not going to buff my mages. This is only mage, it's not going to buff my healers, and it's not going to buff my marksmans. This is only healer, it's not going to buff my mage or my marksman. Well, as this is just ground units, which includes both defenders and fighters. So if you are at the point where peak talents are what you're focusing on this left side is probably going to be your best bet. You'll see here that I made a minor error and went full in on mage attack. It was an error because I didn't realize. I thought that this was just tank. I thought fighter didn't have a thing. And then I actually read it and noticed it was just ground units. And so because of that, we made a minor change. We kind of moved over here, but you'll see that we've gotten to the point where, you know, we're almost done with our ground units, and then we'll move on and we'll go through, and I'll do what I had planned originally, which was just going through and getting 10 on everything and then pushing up to 15 of everything, etc. And we're really going to get to the point where we're going to start making a lot of progress in Tide as we get those things completed, which is really exciting. Then we could go in and we can look at things like Void Rift. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. Void Rift is not something that I have pushed. I just haven't had the time to sit down and try to clear Nightmare. Do I think it's possible? Yes, absolutely. I do think it's possible for me to come in here and clear Nightmare. I just haven't had the time to sit down and clear it. I actually did try to do an attempt on Nightmare where I was able to get to the final boss of Phase 1, but I ran out of time because, again, I just don't have the time to, you know, sit down and grind this as much as I would like because of my work schedule and things like that. So there is going to be some change, and hopefully I will be able to sit down and make this progression. But overall, I would say that we've made some pretty good progress in terms of the account and where we've been. So I want to show kind of my roster, which we'll do once we're done with this. We're going to purchase all our stuff in the store. Highly recommend you guys do this if you haven't already done this. Definitely start doing it. Whoops. I thought I hit the thing. Coming in here and buying your legendary skill crystals, etc. But coming in here, and we did end up in Platinum 2 because I didn't have time to push up. We do normally end up in Overlord, but we just haven't had the time to sit down and push, etc. So here we'll buy all of our stuff in this shop. And it is legendary skill crystal for epics, which is awesome. And none of these I want, so nothing super crazy there. We like that, though. Overall, pretty good. So then we can look at the just overall account, right? Let's look and see where we're at. There's a lot of things that we've gotten. I know you've probably seen some of these updates, especially if you've been watching my content in the past, but you'll see here we still have our Cetrum at A1. We use him a lot less now. In fact, I almost never use him. I did use him on one of the stages in Nightmare Void Rift, but other than that, I barely use him. That's mainly because we got our boy Silas, right? We got Silas. We have him at A1, which gives him that super good attack speed buff. And, of course, we do have him bonded with Vierna, so he is just a god when it comes to damage. We, of course, do also have Zillatu, which we love Zillatu. She's great. She has been really, really good. But we have been unlucky and have not pulled a single copy after getting the original, which is unfortunate. We do have Hex as well, and we did pull and did get a second copy of Hex to take him to A1, which was really nice for his damage output. We really liked that. Valkyra, still at A1, nothing super crazy there. Anai, you guys know I have her. Captain Reeve is another big change that's happened. We did end up getting enough to pull a Captain Reeve, and in fact, let's see if we can get lucky here. Max out that ultimate. Let's go. Maxed out his ultimate. We love that. We just got one more thing here for the passive, and then we'll be done with his skills. He's my current target. And then, of course, we have, you know, some of the other things that have happened. Like, for example, we did get A1 Boreas. Unfortunately, the nerf has made him a lot less viable. He is still viable, but he's just a lot less viable. I'm not using him everywhere anymore, which is okay. But then we go down and we have, for example, we got A1 on Brokir, which is a little nice, being able to do a little more CC. We love that. One of the more recent pickups was actually picking up Sadie, which I'm really, really excited about because Sadie's going to make a big difference when it comes to my Wasteland Titan Codex, which of course we won't see for several weeks now because, you know, we're just now finishing up the final bit of this round of Codex, and the Wasteland Titan probably won't be around until the next wave, which may not even be in the next wave because I think we're getting a new boss on the next wave, I think. And so because of that, we may not even see Wasteland Titan, which is unfortunate. But either way, when we do, I'm gonna have Sadie, and I'm really, really excited about using her because this ultimate is just great. And as you can see, we got really lucky with our legendary skill crystals. We got really lucky and got this to level 4 already, which is awesome. So we got, you know, it's a little more room to grow. You know, we got to get some of this other stuff up, but ultimately it's really, really good. I'm happy about that. Then, of course, we did also get our boy Crowdor. He's really, really good in the new Immortal Codex. If you haven't already seen my videos on that, definitely check them out on the channel. They're really awesome. You can really see him and how much he's performed in that department, which is awesome. And then, like I said, we just pulled Aracha this weekend, which was really, really exciting, which makes our third Lord. You can see all three of our Legendary Lords are right here, Aracha, Morrigan, and Torador. We love that. And then not really much else has happened on the account. We did get an A2 Cerberus, which is cool, but A3 is where he really starts to shine, so we need to get a little more into him. We did also pull an A2 for Kineza and Hatset and Alora. And we got an A1 on Lasir, which is kind of cool. Nothing super crazy, though. And then you'll just see we have, you know, a bunch of A5s here, right? Nothing super crazy. We did pick up one of the new epics, Jorge, and I did 6-star him because I want to give him a try. He seems pretty interesting, right? I like this plague that he does. He seems pretty interesting. So I don't know how effective he's going to actually be, but he looks like he's got a pretty fun kit. I'm excited to give it a try. But other than that, that's kind of where we are when it comes to the account. We haven't done too much. We were able to get an extra copy of Gogron, but nothing super crazy there. But overall, I think my account's made some good progress. There are still a lot of characters, excuse me, that I would love to get. For example, Arrogance would be a game changer. Picking up someone like Ardea or Yoredin, you know, any of the ancient characters would be really good as well. But then also picking up some of like for example, Trusk would be really cool. I'd really like to get Trusk. I'd really like to get a Constance. Would be really fun as well. I've been really lucky to dodge the Cratch, which I know my boy Fastidious would be like, no, you must praise the Cratch. But I've been pretty lucky in being able to dodge him, which is exciting. But in terms of healers, we're missing a lot of the healers. I would love to get my hands on a Aelin or a Pharisee. Of course, Artemis would be fantastic as well. And when it comes to mages, you know, I would like to get a Comet, but I'm pretty happy with the mages that I have. You know, I've pulled what I think is, you know, probably the two most important mages in the game right now, which are Vierna and Anai, outside of Legendary Lords, right? Obviously. Because, of course, we know Solkadens, you know, Twin Fiends, Demi, and Praetus over here are prime mages, but they're Legendary Lords. It's much more difficult to get them. And Comet is nice, but I don't really feel like I need Comet anywhere. I feel like Vierna does a pretty good job at handling that. You know, and Boreas did a good job at getting me my 21 clear before he was nerfed, so definitely no complaints there. So overall, I mean, we've got a good chunk of the champions on, you know, in the game, but there are some key champions that I am missing, you know, that are easy to get, right? Basically what I mean by that is non-ancient exclusive champions, right? Because, for example, Gon, Cyrus, let's see who else we have here. Thalin, Valderon, Hars, Uridin, Ardea, Lugaru, Giselle, right? They're all ancient exclusive, and it goes down even further, right? Sargak, Pelagios is ancient exclusive. Dasomi and Eunomia and Cardinal are all ancient exclusive. Solkadens, was it Cade? Yeah, Cade. Basically what I'm saying is, outside of the champion, or with the champions that are, you know, around that we're actually able to use, you know, we have a good chunk of them, which I'm really excited about. So ultimately, I think we're in a pretty good spot. I really enjoy where we are, and we're gonna end this with just some quick summons, right? Not summons with, you know, characters, but with the Forge, because we are in an AMR event, and we've been doing some pulls. So let's see if we can get any lucky breaks here. Double Sharpshooter crests, unfortunate. We've got a couple more pulls we can do though. Let's see if we get anything else. Regal crest, not great. Taya's bomb is okay, but I'm not really investing in it that much, so not the greatest, but that's okay. Ooh, wow. This is actually a really good pull. We picked up a Scarlet Hunt and a Tear of Twilight. This actually means I can max my first Tear of Twilight, which is actually really exciting. Scarlet Hunt is nice. I don't actually use it that much because I don't have the good bleeders. Bright Root Ring is probably the worst mythic artifact in the game. And then Titus Bomb is actually pretty decent as well for the Codex. So not bad, but a 4 mythic pull is really, really good. We got a couple singles we can do here, and then we'll end it with an exclusive forge. See if we could maybe get lucky and actually get an exclusive artifact from that. That could be fun. The last exclusive artifact I got from there was the Salazar one, which of course we can't use because we don't have him. Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll get someone that we can actually use, because the other one that we pulled was Abomination, which is just terrible. But here we go. We have one exclusive forge. Let's hit that 20%. Come on, game. I believe in you. Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay, well, whatever. We'll take it. It's another Scarlet Hunt. We can't be super mad about that. It is a 60% chance to get the Scarlet Hunt, but overall, we are able to take... Of course, we don't have enough Mithril, but we can take our last one up. Let's see if we can sell enough, maybe. We'll go through, and I don't really use a lot of these things anymore. So basically what I've been doing is just going through and getting rid of, you know, anything more than a single copy of things, because I don't need them. Like, I don't need them at all. And then I sell this and I sell this because I think they're useless. I keep the other ones because I think they have potential uses in the future. But look at that. We can promote our first Tear of Twilight to max, which is very, very exciting. You know, that's awesome. We love that. We have a max Spirit Siphon. We have Awakened 2 Spirit Siphon, which I don't think I have another one, right? No, I don't. We still are sitting on the Awakened 2 of the Wailing Skull, which is unfortunate. But overall, I mean, I'm happy with that little mini summon sesh we did right there. But that's kind of where the account is at. We're sitting at level 82. We're over 4 million. I just don't have all of my gear equipped right now, so we're right under 4 million technically. And yeah, we're sitting in a good spot when it comes to, you know, achievements here. You know, we're missing 50k blood. We're missing Nightmare Void Rift. You know, what else we have? We've gotten 3 of the legendary lords for finishing up this 8, right? You know, and we're making good progress. I think we've done a good job so far of being able to really do stuff. We're getting close to hitting max level here at 100. We're 4,080 summons in, which really isn't that much. You know, we haven't done a insane amount of summons, which I think is kind of crazy because I feel like we've done more than that. But day 181, we've completed 738 mythic forges, 56 legendary forges. We've gotten first place 8 times, which, you know, not the greatest, but I haven't gone too hard. I think it was really important to do it in the early game, but it's not as important, I think, now. But we are going to be going really hard in AMR, and I think that that's where we will end it. We're going to go ahead and just dump our energy into AMR because I really need more artifacts, because like I said, I'm pretty sure that that is the one thing keeping us from our 50k blood in Nightmare 4. So we are going to go as hard as we can in AMR, try and get as many points as possible. We've already put up, I think, about 12,000 points, or 13,000 points even. We're going to try to go for first place. I think that is a good goal here. We're going to try and beat out this Cyrus guy. I think it's possible. But guys, that's the account. That's where we're at. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of the progress I've made. Do you think there's things I could do to make the progress better? I'm definitely interested in your guys' thoughts on that. Of course, we do have, you know, some extra stuff we could do, you know, like beating all the faction trials and things like that. But that is, of course, a day away, so we're not super worried about it right now. But we will get that done hopefully soon. Hopefully the next time you see a catch up or a you know, where my account is showcase video, maybe we'll have all of those cleared. Maybe we'll have the 50k Nightmare 4. Maybe we'll have, you know, the Nightmare Void Rift. We'll see what happens. But guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button if you liked the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we are making a push for 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I really appreciate every single one of you that has subscribed to the channel. Let's keep pushing towards 5k, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.